Mankind Jack, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. I'm talking to you, so yeah, that's great.
Awesome to have you here, bro. What's your question?
Thank you. So my question basically stems from the fact that after watching the Dragonflight trailer, my hype just disappeared
Okay.
completely. Like compared to BFA or Shadowlands, where the trailers were like amazing, and I watched them like 1,000 times probably. This just filled up the bucket of not knowing what's going on that has been filling up for the last 2 years with Shadowlands.
Okay.
It just feels like again they told us absolutely nothing, and it's just going to be another 2 years of small drops of what's going to happen, and the rest speculation on YouTube. And
Okay.
I don't know if they actually. I mean, the only trailer that was. Uh, well, just like this one was the Mr. Pandaria one, where we
Uh-huh.
didn't know who the big bad was. We just got the pandas, and it had more action in it, but we didn't know.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like it's clearly a change from BFA and Shadowlands,
Hmm.
but it doesn't look to me, at least, that they learned the problem with the storytelling, which was keeping the players in the dark. It feels like they're doubling down and telling us absolutely nothing at all. And frankly, I'm a bit done with that. So, do you think we're gonna learn
Um.
more about it closer to the launch this year, or it's gonna be the same as Shadowlands?
All right. So keeping the player in the dark is not the same as spoiling the entire story at the beginning, right? So I actually despised the last few years of WoW, where we know who the bad guy is even before the expansion starts. Because, again, we're getting to that notion of why are you giving me the final chapter of the book before I've even read the first? Right? I want to be able to discover these things, and it's okay if it eventually starts to take shape. There are two types of cinematics in the history of World of Warcraft. One are their sort of micro cinematics. So these would be the cinematics that we got for Shadowlands, the cinematics that we got for BFA. These are basically, my brother loves to use the word decadent, right? These are decadent expansions. They're decadent in that they play to our cheapest emotions. They give a lot of fucking yeah, the fights, it's so cool, the scenes, the action, the combat, it's all amazing. But if you follow the cinematic from a pure story perspective, so what information are they giving you? It's actually very little. It's supposed to just be cool and get you emotionally involved. But then you do go to cinematics like the vanilla one, even the TBC one, um, even the Wrath one to some extent. You know, Wrath was literally an entire cinematic of just Arthas giving a monologue and Arthas showing himself raising Sindragosa. You look at the cinematic for Miss of Pandaria. These are what I like to call world building cinematics, right? They introduce a world. And in Mist of Pandaria, if you look at the cinematic for Mist of Pandaria, it immediately sets up the notion, the theme, that this is going to be Horde v Alliance because the Horde and the Alliance are fighting each other. It then also sets up this mystery. There's a people here that we've never known. We've never actually interacted with them, even though we did in Warcraft 3, but never mind. We never interacted with them. This land is beautiful, but we also, while the camera right at the end is sort of panning over Mists of Pandaria, you see these ninja warriors at the bottom fighting, the monks, right, training. So it gives that immediate contrast of this is a beautiful land, but there's also a lot of strife and war. They're no strangers to war, and obviously, as we played through Mist of Pandaria, we learned about their struggles with the Mogu and the history there. But the cinematic itself really sets up the world. It sets the stage, as it were, and then it sort of tells you, it almost dares you. to log in and discover it. And I feel like Dragonflight Cinematic did very much the same for me. I laughed when you said that after you saw that cinematic, you were almost sort of like down and you're like, fuck, I have no interest in playing it. I had the exact opposite reaction. After I saw that cinematic, I was probably more excited to play Dragonflight than I've been playing a World of Warcraft expansion for a while. Because it felt like we were heading back in the direction of things like Mist of Pandaria, where Blizzard is sort of going, right, so we're showing you Titan Keepers, so you know there's going to be a Titan element here. We're showing you the Tower of Tyr, so you know we're going to be diving into the history of Azeroth. We're showing you the Dragon Isles and the dragons, so you know there's going to be dragons, and you know that we're going to be in the Dragon Isles. But if you want to know more, if you want to discover the secrets of this world, come play it. It's like a dare. It's like throwing down the gauntlet and saying, come at me, bro. And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do this. I'm willing to dive in and see, right? So I feel like that's what expansions, or that's what cinematics should be. I don't want the story spoiled within the cinematic. I want the cinematic to whet my appetite for what I'm about to discover for myself. And I feel like the Dragonflight cinematic did exactly that for me. It whetted my appetite just enough for me to say, but I want to know what's going on there. You know, I want to see this Tower of Tyr. I want to see the different zones here because it looks majestic. It's huge. It's phenomenal. So yeah, I had a bit of a different reaction, you know?
Yeah, I know. I saw your reaction. I saw the reaction of a lot of streamers, and that was the opposite of mine. I've been playing since the start, and every expansion was, get ready for something. And now I
Yeah.
just didn't see what I was getting ready for. But do you feel it's a good sign from a storytelling perspective, or is it just going to be more of the same, and doubling down on it?
I mean, insofar as one cinematic can be a sign for what a story would be, I would say yes. It creates the mystery that I want whenever I approach a story. It's like a good YouTube thumbnail or a good YouTube title. You don't know exactly what the video is about once you see the thumbnail, but the thumbnail is good enough that you want to see what the video is about, right? It's like a good cover of a book. You don't know what the book is about by looking at the cover, but you do know that the cover is enticing enough that you want to read the book. That's what the cinematic is. That's what I think cinematics should be. They shouldn't spoil. They shouldn't contain the story. They should invite you into the world. They should be a window into what you are about to step into. They shouldn't be the world that you're stepping into. So yeah, I'm very excited for the story because insofar as it can be a precursor to a good story, yeah, it seems like Blizzard is once again going back to, here's our world. If you want to know what's going to happen in this world, you better come play. And we are going to unfold this over time. So we're not willing to spoil it even in the cinematic, which gives me hope that Blizzard is also not going to be willing to spoil the story in data mines and sort of cinematics pre-released. I think Blizzard is going to treat their story like a proper story that you have to play through in order to discover. And I'm excited for that. I am very excited for that.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Thank you very much. I was really happy to talk to you. It just feels like the community's main complaint about Shadowlands, except the mechanics, obviously, was that we had no idea what was going on with any of the characters.
Yeah.
They would just appear out of nowhere, do something, disappear again, and no idea.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm afraid is going to happen in this expansion as well.
Yeah, but this is, to the counterpoint there would be, but the cinematic for Shadowlands showed you exactly who the bad guys were going to be, right? And yet it still didn't make sense because the failure there was more to the previous point that we spoke about, where a lot of what needed to be in the game was removed from the game and put into the book. So all of Zuval's motivations, all of Sylvanas' motivations, were removed from the game for some reason and put into the Sylvanas novel, which is why this story made so little sense. Because in order to understand the Shadowlands story, you needed to read the book. If you didn't read the book, there's a lot in that story that doesn't make sense. That's not anything to do with the cinematic. That's just to do with... So I'll give you the clearest answer I have for this. The cinematic, the difference between the Shadowlands cinematic and the Dragonflight cinematic. The Shadowlands cinematic was supposed to drive pre-orders. The Dragonflight cinematic feels like it's supposed to drive the world. If that makes sense. Like, the one is supposed to build hype, and you're supposed to get, I need to pre-order this right now. Whereas the other one is sort of going, you don't have to, but don't you want to find out? Don't you want to see what's behind this curtain? Don't you want to come to the Dragon Isles and actually see what's going on here? You know, that's the sort of difference, I think.
Yeah. Right now I don't, but hopefully you'll build up my hype during the next few months, and
I'm not gonna spend the next few months building hype. I've already said my plan for this channel, and this is what I'm sticking to, is lore and speculation. That's it.
Yeah. But that's what you're doing, because you're making the game seem more interesting, because you're diving into the parts that the developers don't show us, and it just, you're building up hype by,
Well, I can only apologize for that, but I do have some crazy speculation theories that I'm working on. So I can only apologize if that gets you hyped to play the game. That's not the intention. The intention is just to get people hyped for the story. And I'm having so much fun. I literally wake up every single day and just start making videos because I'm having so much fun fucking recording again and doing speculation and stuff like that. So I can only apologize if this gives you guys false hope. That's not the point of them. It's just for fun. And yeah, there is actually a lot. Now looking back at Shadowlands with the book, obviously, and all the information that the book contains, there's actually a lot there that we can speculate on about the future. So I am sort of focusing on that very specifically. And yeah, as Apocalypse said there, if you want like just crazy speculation, or if you want to watch me figure out how to Photoshop a thumbnail, you can join Patreon. The link should be in the description down below. That's literally what we did yesterday, by the way. We spent 2 hours figuring out how to make a thumbnail because the thing wouldn't do what I told it to do. So me and the whole chat was basically Googling how to fix a thumbnail. So yeah, it's fun. And it leads to some crazy shit. But anyways, I really appreciate the question. Don't hesitate to ask more, bro. If you ever have another question, please don't hesitate to ask. I really love spending time with you guys. I love this 2 hour, 3 hour discussions we have every single week. It's just absolute crazy fun. So Mankind Jack, really appreciate it, bro.
Nah, thank you very much for having me. You're great. Keep it up.
Thank you very much. Take care of yourself, brother.